Chrissy Teigen, A Very Sinking Narcissist, Part 3. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. So far, we have received evidence from different sources founded upon actual behaviours recorded in her own tweets that demonstrate that Chrissy Teigen has repeatedly operated with a sense of entitlement. She has failed to exhibit emotional empathy towards others. She has acted with a lack of accountability. She's engaged in deflection, blame shifting, insult, triangulation, belittlement, invalidation, the exhibition of fury. She has demonstrated that she operates with haughty behaviours, that she lacks boundary recognition and engages in black and white thinking, the need to assert control, and that exhibits a response to a perceived threat to her own control. The page 6 article continues by explaining what the fallout has been as a consequence of the revelation of these long-forgotten messages, and it led to her Cravings cookware line, which Teigen tirelessly promoted to her 13.6 million followers on Twitter and 34.8 million followers on Instagram, being pulled from Macy's. Such an action would cause substantial wounding to her, as it would threaten her control. Although it was previously reported that Target had also dropped Teigen, a rep for the store said, "We made the mutual decision in December to no longer carry the cookware line. Macy's has not confirmed if the line is shelved for good. I suspect that the Target rep was just being kind, and that Target also formed the view that they could not be involved with an individual that has engaged in such behaviour, particularly, of course, in the climate of recent years." The article continues. Teigen is holed up with her family at their Los Angeles home, and a source who knows her told the Post, "She's so raw and vulnerable. I don't know if she can come back to social media." Pity play through a lieutenant. The Teigen source admitted that the stores were forced to sever their relationships with the model after being bombarded with customer complaints on social media. As you can imagine, last week was wild, the sources said. When people started going after brands, whether warranted or not, it creates a mess for the brands to deal with. Well, it certainly does appear to be warranted, because this individual has been behaving in a manner towards other people that has caused them distress, that has caused them upset. This isn't the back and forth banter that has been engaged in, that often is seen on Twitter and can be often pithy and amusing. These are comments of blatant insults, labelling somebody a slut, and then saying, "But I'm right." Thereafter also the reports of suggesting that somebody killed themselves, and there's no joke in that, and it was said on numerous occasions towards Courtney Stodden. And also the comments towards Lindsay Lohan, who has clearly got a number of mental health issues and has been encouraged, or rather her self-harming has been ridiculed in a manner of saying that every time she sees Emma Stone succeeding, because there's evidently a similarity between Miss Stone and Miss Lohan in terms of careers and possibly even looks, that this causes then Lindsay Lohan to self-harm. The comments speak for themselves, and they were clearly made because the screenshots exist of the tweets. This is not something that's been taken out of context. This is not something that's been fabricated. She wrote those things and tweeted them. The article continues. Page 6 reported that Bloomingdale's was hours away from signing a contract with Teigen to host a promotional event for the store, but pulled the plug on Monday. Wounding. Although a source with knowledge of the VRBO partnership told the Post there were no issues, and the deal is moving forward as planned, branding expert Mark Bukowski isn't so sure Teigen will be forgiven by her fans or the people who hired her. No one tolerates the idea of a bully. Within the business values of many of these brands, it causes problems, Bukowski said. It's all about authenticity. If you're found out to not be what you claim to be, that always leads to an Icarus moment, and everything comes crashing down. One day you're hot, and the next day you're cancelled due to stupidity, arrogance, or ego. America is the worst place to be shamed, and the first people to jump ships are agents who arrange deals if they don't see money in you. Well, of course, that is why they exist. And it's not a case of being cancelled due to stupidity, arrogance, or ego, although it may well look like that. She's being cancelled as a consequence of her narcissism coming to the fore, and is another perfect example of the unaware narcissist in action. The narcissism feels the need to assert control in the moment, causing her to tweet what she tweeted. It has no regard for the collateral consequence of how that might be looked at years later or days later. It has no concern for the collateral consequences, how that might affect other people. It has no concern for the collateral consequence as to how that might impact upon Chrissy Teigen's earning power or relationships with the various brands that she's involved in. The narcissism is solely focused on the assertion of that control in that moment. And that is the issue, that it has compelled her to assert control through these malign hoovers, and now the collateral consequences being experienced with not only people expressing their disapproval and dislike of her conduct, complaining about her to the brands, and the brands dropping her. The article continues. Stodden, who first came into the public eye in 2011 as a 16-year-old, wed to 51-year-old actor Doug Hutchinson, brought the scandal to light on May the 10th in an interview with the Daily Beast. She wouldn't just publicly tweet about wanting me to take a dirt nap, but would privately DM me and tell me to kill myself, said Stodden. Things like, I can't wait for you to die. In March, Stodden, now 26, also posted a video to Instagram in which 2011 tweets from Teigen were revealed that range from I hate you to my Friday fantasy, you, dirt nap. And while Teigen is known for her sparky humour, it didn't jibe with the image on which she has built her brand, hypocrisy, as a loving mum and wife, and a champion of women. The 35-year-old model has made it her deal to be open and honest about everything. Assertion of control, lack of boundary recognition, from getting sober to the tragic stillbirth of her baby son Jack at 20 weeks into her pregnancy, even publishing a series of raw photos from her hospital room in September 2020. It's all helped her build a huge social media following, and it turns out some of those followers are just as vicious as she has been. As the Post previously reported, retired military nurse and self-confessed social media troll Carrie Ryan found herself in a Twitter war with Teigen in 2019 after commenting, "You are way overrated to the star." Challenge fuel. And whilst that wasn't so nice in itself, Ryan was still shocked to be bombarded with messages from Teigen's followers saying they wish she was dead. When she read about what Teigen had done to Stodden, Ryan said, "What has to happen to someone to get them to a place where they tell a 16-year-old to kill themselves? I don't know if mean is just her baseline, or if she just went through some tough stuff that got her to that point." No, Carrie Ryan. She's a narcissist, and therefore she has no emotional empathy, she needs to assert control, and does so without any due regard for how that would impact upon somebody else, driven by her own narcissism. Her narcissism, of course, tells her that she's entitled to write these things, that these people deserve to be treated this way, that they have perhaps lashed out at her and they need to be put down. Meanwhile, the article continues, former US Weekly reporter John Varek, who was let go from the publication after an online spat with Teigen, yet another, said celebrities like Teigen don't realise the power of their words on social media. She and plenty of others don't think about the person on the other end. Of course not. She's a narcissist, why would she? They think about the likes or comments and don't realise there are real people that their words affect. Again, that's accurate because the unconscious response is to draw fuel from the likes or comments. They get mass approval and have zero regard for the damage being done. Teigen attacked him after a red carpet interview ended up with the headline, Chrissy Teigen were hiring a night nurse for baby. Challenge fuel. When she accused him of trying to make her look like a poor, uncaring mother and get people talking, Varek told her he didn't write the headlines and forwarded her a screenshot of the quotes he had sent to a US Weekly editor. He was soon given his marching orders. "I was on a freelance salary, getting paid per event, trying to make rent," Varek said. She carried on the next day and probably didn't remember any of it. And you're probably right about that, Mr. Varek, because of her compartmentalisation, that once control had been asserted, she moves on to the next thing. After Stodden's revelation, Teigen tweeted, "Not a lot of people are lucky enough to be held accountable for all that past bullshit in front of the entire world. I'm mortified and sad at who I used to be. Pity play, false contrition. I was an insecure, attention-seeking troll. I'm so sorry, Courtney." False contrition. Stodden accepted the apology and forgave Teigen on Instagram, but added, I have never heard from her or her camp in private. In fact, she blocked me on Twitter. And again, that explanation speaks volumes. Teigen, having mauled a young lady, encouraging her to kill herself, doesn't have the emotional empathy, and of course her narcissism won't allow this to be done, to contact that individual in private to express any remorse. Why? Because she has none. And the expression of remorse in private really wouldn't achieve anything. Instead, the narcissism directs Teigen to assert control en masse by making it a public supposed apology, which will, 1, indirectly assert control over Stodden, but more importantly, from her perspective as a narcissist, but again occurring in her unconscious, enables her to assert control over everybody else who happens to be noticing. That makes it look like that she's contrite, that she was troubled, that she has learned from what has gone on in the past, that she has somehow improved herself. Horseshit. She has not. This is quite simply her narcissism responding in order to assert control. And in order to not only assert control over Stodden and followers and viewers and commentators, but also, of course, to save those residual benefits, because she is tanking, she is sinking. The former swimwear model is sinking. And as Stodden calls it correctly, she states, "All of me wants to believe this is a sincere apology," Stodden posted, "but it feels like a public attempt to save her partnerships with Target and other brands who are realizing her wokeness is a broken record." Stodden is correct. This is just facade management. It is an attempt to look like she cares and is sorry, but she is not. Words come easy to the narcissist. The actions have not followed. And it is about asserting control over Stodden, asserting control over the followers, and importantly asserting control over Target and the other brands to make it look like she is contrite in order to preserve control over them, nullify the threat to control that they've posed by pulling the plug on her lines, and of course to preserve the residual benefits of that delicious moolah, that filthy lucre, that cash money. And isn't it interesting, once again, that an individual that throws around the cult of woke has been exposed as another hypocritical fraud, that preaches wokeness on the one hand, yet their own actions belie that. What is that? Of course, it is the hypocrisy of the narcissist. The public apology that has been issued is purely for the purposes of the assertion of control, facade management, and to prevent the ongoing damage that has been experienced. BBC News reports further on this by stating, Chrissy Teigen has broken a month-long social media silence to apologise for bullying several people on Twitter. In a blog post, the US model reflected on the crushing weight of regret for the things I've said in the past. False contrition. Teigen published a series of tweets in May apologising to TV personality Courtney Stodden, who accused her of online bullying. Stodden accepted the apology, but said it could just be an attempt to limit damage to Teigen's reputation. In her latest blog post, Teigen said she was privately reaching out to people she'd insulted in the past, though she did not say who. And of course, as per what Stodden has written, that hasn't happened, so that may well be a lie. There is simply no excuse for my past horrible tweets, wrote Teigen. Well then, why did you do it? Who is married to singer John Legend. I was a troll, full stop, and I am so sorry. No, you're not. You believe that you are because your narcissism makes you believe that you're sorry, but you're not. It's false contrition. I took to Twitter to try to gain attention. You did, it was fuel, and show off what I at the time believed was a crude, clever, harmless quip. Anybody reviewing those tweets can see that they were neither clever, nor harmless, nor quips. They were nasty messages, and thus to try and describe them as crude, clever, harmless quips basically unravels the apology. And what is that? It's deflection. It's blame shifting. She continues, I thought it made me cool and relatable if I poked fun at celebrities. And of course, her narcissism, because of the level that it has evolved to, doesn't allow her to realise that that's not poking fun. It doesn't allow her to realise that what she was actually doing wasn't poking fun at all, encouraging somebody to kill themselves. Ho! That's a good laugh, isn't it? Telling somebody every time you see Emma Stone you cut yourself further. Oh, chortle, what a great gag. No. And what's happening here is that through her supposed apology, she's just revealing more of her true colours and is digging herself deeper. Her supposed apology continues. In reality, I was insecure, immature, and in a world where I thought I needed to impress strangers to be accepted. More horseshit. Teigen currently has 13.5 million Twitter followers and 35 million on Instagram, where she also shared a link to her blog post. She said she was not seeking sympathy. Yes, she is. And that she was no longer the person who wrote those horrible things. Yes, you are. But your narcissism doesn't allow you to see it. After getting married, having kids and attending therapy. We are all more than our worst moments. Word salad. Teigen wrote, I won't ask for your forgiveness, only your patience and tolerance. Martyrdom. In 2011, Teigen, who was aged 25 at the time, she's no child, she's 25 years old, sent Twitter messages to then 16-year-old Stodden, still a child, urging them to take their own life. Stodden, who has come out as non-binary, the BBC reports, recently told the Daily Beast that other celebrities had commented on the relationship that she had with Hutchinson. There are a lot of celebrities acting like playground bullies, and indeed Teigen was foremost of them. It's very clear from this sustained course of conduct over a period of time against not just one person but a multiplicity of individuals that we have seen the range of behaviours that demonstrate the various indicators that determine what Chrissy Teigen is. We have seen that she engages with a sense of entitlement, feeling that she is entitled to pass judgment on people in the most nasty of ways, that she exhibits a complete lack of emotional empathy because she's manipulative, that she has written nasty and unpleasant comments of particularly savage nature to people who are in a position of vulnerability. She lacks accountability for her behaviour. She's told lies. She blame shifts. She does not accept that she's done anything wrong. She retracts from her behaviour, distancing herself from it and blaming it on other factors. She exhibits grandiosity. She utilises flowery language, exaggeration. She boasts. She exhibits haughty behaviours. She's rude, condescending, dismissive, and arrogant. She's snippy and operates with a closed mind. She demonstrates a range of manipulations: flattery, the telling of lies, triangulation with object, triangulation with person, absent silent treatment, backhanded compliment, pity play, smearing, false compassion, false contrition, invalidation, belittlement, withdrawal, denial, provocation, projection, blame shifting, word salad, use of threat, insult, revision of history, feigned misunderstanding, intimidation, bullying, false accusations, vagueness, finding fault, use of the vulnerability against the victim. She has poor boundary recognition. She repeatedly engages in the behaviour. She sees nothing wrong with wading into discussions between other people that don't involve her at all. She shows significant aspects of the narcissistic dynamic, whereby she engages in facade management. She sees others as an extension of herself. She engages in character trait acquisition, black and white thinking, the exhibition of the need to assert control, the exhibition of a response to a perceived threat to that control, hypocrisy, the exhibition of envy, objectification, compartmentalization, hoovering. There are all of the indicators that support a finding that Chrissy Teigen behaves as a narcissist. This has been shown again and again and again through a systematic and habitual pattern of behaviour. And this has been demonstrated yet again where her supposed apology, which is merely a pity play and false contrition, is all about the assertion of control, the nullification of a threat to control, and the desire to draw fuel and preserve the residual benefits. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.